Who had who prevailed over the weekend in the contest between Iran retaliating upon Israel's destruction of its consulate in Damascus, and the UK, the US, Jordan, and Israel attempting to interfere with and nullify that retaliation?
I would say that the people of the United States, the people of Europe, the people of the world prevailed. And the reason why is Iran was able to establish deterrence superiority over Israel when it comes to Israel's perceived right of being able to strike Iran anytime, anywhere Israel chose. But Iran did so in a manner which, for any rational human being, precluded the need for Israel to retaliate. It was a very sophisticated, a very measured response that, as long as Israel doesn't do anything crazy, and unfortunately it looks like Israel might be getting ready to do something crazy, allows the global economy to stabilize. I just want everybody to understand that if Israel attacks Iran, Iran's retaliation will probably be of a scope and scale that will turn the global economy upside down. You think you don't like gas prices now? Just wait. You don't like food prices? Wait till there's no diesel for trucks to deliver food to your grocery stores. This is the future of America and the global economy if Israel chooses to attack Iran, because the Iranian response will include a retaliation against the United States, which will prompt an American response, which will prompt Iranian closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which will lead to a general strike between Iran and Saudi Arabia, destroying critical oil producing infrastructure. So right now, Iran did the world a favor by politely telling the Israelis, you can't strike us for free. There will be a price to be paid. But Israel suffered no real harm. Israel, because it's not about Israeli security, it's about Benjamin Netanyahu's political fortune. Israel, under Netanyahu's leadership, has to strike back. At least they perceive they have to strike back, but they don't. They don't need to strike back. Right now, peace exists in Israel. People are in cafes in Tel Aviv. They won't be in cafes in Tel Aviv if Israel strikes Iran.
What conceivable military, diplomatic, or political purpose was served by the Israeli destruction and murder of the people inside of the consulate in Damascus?
Well, again, I believe Israel was operating, and successfully so, operating under the assumption that they enjoyed deterrence supremacy, because Israel has been assassinating Iranian nuclear scientists for years, for decades. They've been blowing up Iranian critical infrastructure covertly for decades. They've been using proxies in Pakistan, Iraq, and elsewhere to attack Iran for decades. They've been blowing up Iranian assets in Lebanon, in Syria, and Iraq, again, for years with no penalty. Iran has not retaliated. But Iran drew a red line. They said that we will retaliate if you strike Iranian soil. I think the Israelis believed that by blowing up this consulate, that Iran wouldn't make it like soil, because Iran was afraid to attack Israel because of the fear of what Israel would do in retaliation. Israel believed that this meeting of IRGC Quds Force leadership posed such a threat to Israel that it was worth the risk. So they did the action. They didn't believe Iran would retaliate, not on the scope and scale that Iran did. And I don't believe they thought for a moment that Iran would be able to penetrate the world's most sophisticated, in-depth, dense anti-ballistic missile capability ever. The one that was guarding the Nevatim airfield, they didn't think Iran could penetrate, but Iran did. 5 missiles landed on it, and Iran made the point that it can hit anytime, any place, anywhere in Israel, and there's nothing that Israel or the United States can do to stop them.
How surgical and how strategic was the Iranian attack? Our colleague Alistair Crook has saluted them, as have you, saying that many of the drones that were sent there were like pawns in a chess game. They were sent knowing they'd be destroyed. And by destroying them, the Iranians saw from where the destruction was coming and forced the Israelis to expend. Is this possible, Scott? $1 billion in one weekend?
That's just the cost for Israel. I think when you add up the total cost for everybody involved, the price tag will probably get closer to $2 billion, could even approach $3 billion. This is very expensive, this kind of anti-ballistic missile warfare. And the drones that Israel was launching against Israel, which, by the way, just to remind everybody that Iran provided the United States and Israel with 72 hours advance notice of this attack.
Is that normal?
It's normal if you don't want to kill people. It's normal if you're just trying to prove a point, not to do harm.
Surely the Israelis did not provide notice to the Iranians before they destroyed that consulate.
No, but we're talking about two different countries, two different objectives. The Iranian purpose here is not to promote and provoke a larger war. It's to make the point to Israel in a way that doesn't kill Israel. Because remember, the goal wasn't to provoke an Israeli retaliation. The goal was to demonstrate to Israel and the United States that Iran possessed the ability to destroy Israel anytime it wanted to. And so they deliberately struck targets that were only military in nature, only military targets that were involved in the attack on the consulate. And they did so in a way that guaranteed that there wouldn't be Israeli casualties. This was just a demonstration. It's not normal unless you're a rational nation not seeking to expand the conflict. So they gave 72 hours advance notice. Then they launched the drones, which gave Israel an additional 5 hours, not an additional, but now that said in 5 hours, you will be under attack. And it allowed Israel and the United States to get the defense ready. This is what the Iranians wanted. What the drones did is light up Israel, got the radars going. And Iran was able to plot the radars and point out where every single anti-ballistic missile system was. Then they followed up the drones with cruise missiles, which actually penetrated Israeli airspace, causing these air defense nodes to open fire, exposing. First, they exposed the radars. Now they expose the launchers, which are separate from the radars. And then Israel, now seeing this, was able to fire ballistic missiles at the targets they wanted in a manner which hit the targets, not destroyed the targets, hit the targets. But they also, as for good measure, destroyed a couple of the air defense nodes, letting the Israelis know that we know where you are and we took you out. And if we wanted to do this again, we would take all of your defense capabilities out. This was a very, very successful attack by Iran.
Did the Iranians attack an Israeli intelligence operation with some sort of a strange number, 8,200 group? Do I have that right?
Well, 8,200 is a unit. It's the equivalent of the National Security Agency for Israel. And but there's a number, 8,200 has a number of units. It's like an umbrella organization. I actually worked with 8,200 when I was working with Israel, cooperated with them on some special missions that we were running inside Iraq to hunt down weapons of mass destruction. So I'm pretty familiar with this organization. In the Golan Heights, 8,200 has a very large communications intercept station. And here, given the line of sight that they have with Damascus, they're able to monitor communications. And this is the site that gathered the intelligence about the Iranians being in the consulate at the time, and then they passed intelligence uplinked it to the Israeli F-35 and F-16 fighters, which operated out of Nevatim Airfield and Ramon Airfield. These are the three sites that were struck. The 8,200 SIGINT site in the Golan Heights, Nevatim, and Ramon. These are the three sites that were involved in striking the Iranian consulate in Damascus on the 1st of April. And these are the three sites that Iran hit, proving that Iran wasn't seeking an expansive conflict. They simply retaliated under Article 51 of the United Nations Charter against those elements that posed a recurring potential of threat of attack to Iran.
Didn't would you characterize the manner of the Iranian assault as such that it demonstrated the Israeli and the U.S. vulnerability.
Let me make this point as clear as I can make it.
Please.
Nevatim Airfield was the most protected spot on the planet when it came to anti-ballistic missile defense. There's no other place on the planet, not the White House, not the Kremlin, nowhere, that has the level and sophistication and density of anti-ballistic missile capacity than Nevatim Airfield. They have an American X-band radar, which is designed to detect over the horizon Iranian missile launches. That radar is linked to Ballistic Missile Defense Organization headquarters out of Colorado Springs, which is connected to satellites to give them nonstop monitoring capability. So they monitor the missiles when they're launched, they monitor them as they come in, they track them, and they identify the assets to destroy them. They're linked to Arrow 2, Arrow 3, Advanced Patriot, THAAD missiles, David Sling. All these missiles get Maverick excited. And these missiles are all designed to provide layered defense. They didn't shoot down the 5 missiles. It's my understanding that Iran launched 7 missiles against Nevatim Airfield. 2 of them either malfunctioned or were shot down, probably shot down, but 5 hit despite all of this. This it should prove to everybody, Israeli and American alike, that there is no defense against Iranian missiles.